Get me that signal. We need more power.
Welcome to the Voice of E, entertainment for the Everyday Geek. I'm your host, Elliott Miller. In board game news, coming next month from GMT Games is Iron and Oak, the game of ship-to-ship combat during the American Civil War. As a tactical representation of naval warfare, each of the ships in the game is accurately modeled for offensive capability, including gunnery, ramming and spar torpedoes for defensive capability, including damage and 5 distinct armored or wooden hit locations, and for maneuverability, crew size, and draft. Many of the 14 scenarios in this easy-to-learn game are playable in an hour or less. Included are 13 historical and 1 hypothetical engagement, featuring Hampton Roads, Mobile Bay, Trent's Reach, Wassaw Sound, the duel between the Alabama and the Kearsarge, and the Saga of the Arkansas, which may be played as 3 individual scenarios, or as a linked mini-campaign. In addition, forts bristling with guns make their appearance to challenge the will of the ship's captains. If that was not enough, to heat things up, scenario-based optional rules add a few interesting what-if scenarios to expand on play. And if you're interested in commanding your own fleet, Iron and Oak includes a standalone campaign module where player-selected forces fight it out in the many rivers, bays, inlets, and coastal areas. The campaign game recreates the brown water actions, typical of the period, in a series of randomly generated battles. As play progresses, the players do not know the exact length of the campaign or the specific mix of the battles. Players must not only manage the unfolding battles, but must also strategically allocate resources and repair and refit their ships. The 16-card Navy Yard deck is used to plot a course through and influence the challenges of the campaigns. 2 or more players battle it out on an 11 by 17 map that features an area movement grid. This simple approach controls ship movement as well as all combat action. Gone are the long periods of inaction typical of ACW tactical naval games, as these early Steam-era ships struggled to maneuver into battle. This innovative system places emphasis on quick action and tactical decision-making. The 50 action cards are used to assist and enhance play, not drive it. Each time you battle it out, whether in a scenario or campaign game, the action unfolds in a very different manner. Do you wish to employ hotshot or incendiary shells? Is now the best time to rapid fire, or is it wise to maneuver and ram? Should you allocate part of the crew as a repair party? Is that enemy ship going to maneuver into your torpedo field? These and many other possibilities exist through the play of the action cards. Or you may decide to not play any action cards at all and just maneuver and shoot. You control how and when the action will unfold. At its core, Iron and Oak is a naval simulation. It accurately models the close-range slugging matches typical of the period. You have the opportunity to play out the various battles to their conclusion. Will history repeat itself, or will a new account be written? Will the Monitor's 11-inch Dahlgren smoothbores blast through Virginia's armor plating, or will their battle again end in a stalemate? Will the powerful Tennessee win out against Admiral David Farragut's Union fleet, or again fall to his superior numbers? Will the Atlanta defeat the 2 Union Monitors in a kind, or again slip aground and strike her colors? This time you get to determine the outcome. You're not bound by history's stories. Next up, in an effort to render my spectacular Starfield banner that I have obsolete, Fantasy Flight Games announced the X-Wing Starfield Game Tile Kit. Now, the X-Wing Starfield Game Tile Kit introduces 12 thick tiles that allow you to wage your X-Wing space battles above such iconic Star Wars features as Alderaan and the Death Star. Each of these sturdy tiles consists of matte finish cardstock mounted on 2.5mm fiberboard and measures 1 square foot. Starfield tiles are all double-sided and permit a wide range of possible configurations to create immersive settings as you fight for the fate of a galaxy far, far away. Entering the Alderaan system, the Starfield game tile kit provides a vivid backdrop for the deadly dogfights in your games of X-Wing. duel above the planet of Alderaan, dodge laser blasts within the thick of an asteroid field, or maneuver your squadrons into position as you close in upon the Death Star. With a little imagination, players can use these tiles to set the scenes for the stages of a dramatic extended X-Wing campaign. No matter which scene you choose to depict with your Starfield game tile kit, its thick, matte-finished fiberboard tiles form a smooth and durable play surface that won't easily warp. If you're looking for a play surface worthy of the galaxy's most dramatic dogfights, Starfield tiles create a quality custom play environment that will provide you years of service, even as it enriches the depth and fantasy of your games. Now, let me just say, what I have currently that I use is a big 3-foot by 3-foot banner that has a star map printed out on it, and you just play on there. And, it works pretty good, but it's hard to get it to stay flat because, I got to roll it up in between. And if you fold it, it gets all these creases in it. I don't like that. So you kind of have to maybe set something on the corners or... So I gotta admit, Fantasy Flight is putting together these foot square tiles that come in a box, and there's 12 of them, and on each side is, one side will be just plain stars. The other side will have a portion of Alderaan, one quadrant of Alderaan. You can put 4 of them tiles together to make all of Alderaan, or the same with the Death Star, all of the Death Star. Some have little asteroids on them. So you can throw these things in there and build this 3-foot by 3-foot play space, and it looks like an actual Starfield. So I gotta admit, it looks pretty cool. The features depicted on the Starfield game tile kit tiles have no standard gameplay function, but players may choose to treat the printed asteroids as obstacles. Accordingly, the Starfield game tile kit comes with rules for both cooperative and competitive setup that allow players to incorporate the tile's printed features into the games, along with any number of obstacle tokens. In a cooperative setup, the players arrange the Starfield tiles to construct a play surface of their choice. No placement restrictions to impede their ability to create the scene of their choice, though all players must agree upon the final arrangement of the tiles and obstacle tokens. Throughout the competitive setup, players take turn constructing the play surface and positioning obstacles. The competitive setup includes some restrictions upon the placement of obstacles in order to ensure that the match allows both players the chance to take full advantage of their maneuvers. Take your games to the next level. X-Wing to attack speed with the tile kit. With their vibrant imagery and smooth finish, these Starfield tiles form a bolder play surface for your deadliest dogfights. The X-Wing Starfield game tile kit is scheduled to arrive in the third quarter of 2013. Now, speaking of Fantasy Flight games and Star Wars, prepare yourself for an unforgettable weekend in a galaxy far, far away. Fantasy Flight Games is pleased to announce the Star Wars Game Experience, May 3rd through the 5th at the Fantasy Flight Games Event Center in Roseville, Minnesota. With competitions, RPG events, developer presentations, special guests, and much more, the Star Wars Game Experience is the place to be for fans of Star Wars gaming. You can register now through the Fantasy Flight Games web store for a weekend jam-packed with Star Wars gaming. First, as a regional tournament venue for X-Wing Miniatures game and the Star Wars card game. This event is your chance to face off against the area's best players for a shot at the title of regional champion. Contenders also compete for an assortment of regional exclusive championship prizes. Those seeking a somewhat less competitive gaming experience are invited to meet the Star Wars Edge of the Empire role-playing game developers for adventures in the Outer Rim. Choose a character and get started with a beginner game, or take part in a never-before-seen adventure designed by the development team. Not that they're designing games for X-Wing or anything like that. Want to take a break from cards, miniatures, and role-playing games? Why not have a beer at the Star Wars official bar? No, that was a joke. I kid them, Join the Star Wars trivia contest or meet the special guests. What kind of gas is mined at the Cloud City on Bespin? Woo! What is the name of the first Star Destroyer ever seen in the movies? Test your knowledge of the Star Wars universe in the Star Wars Trivia Showdown. And compete for glory and prizes. which is all that really matters. The Star Wars game experience is also your chance to meet some of your favorite Star Wars game authors and game designers. Have your Star Wars novel signed by author Troy Denning, or meet X-Wing and Edge of the Empire designer Jay Little. Again, the Star Wars game experience is the weekend of May 3rd through 5th at the Fantasy Flight Games Event Center in Roseville, Minnesota. Afterwards, maybe you could stop by the Mall of America and go see Iron Man 3, which will be released that same weekend. In other news, with a little more than 2 weeks to go, the U.S. version of Coup is funded to the nines on Kickstarter. Coup was a smash hit at Essen in 2012. Now, Indie Boards and Cards brings the game home, bring it on home to the USA with a tie-in to their popular Resistance game, in a collaborative effort with Ricky Tata and La Mame Games to make this fantastic game more readily available for everyone to enjoy. In the not-too-distant future, the government is run for profit by a new royal class of multinational CEOs. Their greed and absolute control of the economy has reduced all but a privileged few to lives of poverty and desperation. That sounds familiar. Anyway, out of the oppressed masses rose the Resistance, an underground organization focused on overthrowing these powerful rulers. The valiant efforts of the Resistance have created discord, intrigue, and weakness in the political courts of the Nouvelle Royale, bringing the government to the brink of collapse. But for you, a powerful government official, this is your opportunity to manipulate, bribe, and bluff your way into absolute power. To be successful, you must destroy the influence of your rivals, you, and drive them into exile. In these turbulent times, there is only room for one to survive. Coup is for 2 to 6 players and only takes about 15 minutes to play. Additionally, if you're a fan of the Resistance, one of the promos for Coup are dystopian-themed Merlin and Assassin cards. If you are a fan of the art from the Resistance and you want to add these rolls from the Resistance Avalon, you'll love these promos. Each copy of Coup you pledge will come with a set of these promos. A pledge of $15 will get you a copy of Coup, plus the Resistance promo cards. Coup will run on Kickstarter through May 11th. From Asmodee Edition comes Room 25. In this futurist reality TV show, you're gambling with your life, trapped in a prison composed of 25 rooms with unexpected effects. Cooperate with each other to find the exit, Room 25. But be careful. A guard might be hiding among you, the prisoners, and he won't hesitate to use whatever force necessary to keep you from escaping. Choose the difficulty of the game and have more fun with the different prison compositions, thanks to the various game modes: cooperation, suspicion, competition, and solo. Room 25 is a dynamic and easy-to-play game to play alone or up to 6 players. It provides ruthless amusement and several game modes: cooperation, competition, suspicion, team, and solo. Room 25 is a game for players ages 8 and up and takes from 15 to 45 minutes to play. It's available now at a retail price of $29.99. Finally, Dark City, the first expansion to the Marvel Legendary deck building game from Upper Deck. Darkness is rising in the world of Legendary. Mr. Sinister and Mephisto have harmonized to orchestrate 8 hardened new schemes to annihilate 17 new heroes aligned in the fight. Dark City, the first expansion to Legendary, a Marvel deck-building game, bears an entirely new level of play to the critically acclaimed Legendary card game. In Dark City, players own the fate of heroes like Cable, Professor X, and Blade in dramatic card-hailing battles against all-new villain groups like the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse and the Mutant Liberation Front. 8 new schemes in play from 5 of the toughest tactical tyrants in the form of all-new masterminds you can set in your sights to take out. The outcome is yours. The game is what you make of it. Do you have what it takes to become legendary? It's time you find out in the all-new Dark City, a Legendary expansion pack. Dark City features 350 playable cards with all new content, 4 original art pieces per hero, 17 new heroes, 5 masterminds, 6 villain groups, 2 henchman groups, new keyword mechanics, 2 color-sided rule sheets, and 2-sided color rule sheet. Like I said, nobody listened. And 60 divider cards. Dark City has a scheduled release date of June 25th for $39.99. Much looking forward to that. As yes, we all are. Well, that is all the board game news for this week. Stay tuned for more news. When I do more news, we're going to have a nice discussion about the upcoming release of Iron Man 3 and the prelude comics that led up to it, as well as the new Star Trek movie and its prelude countdown into darkness books. Coming soon. Thank you. And good night. Thanks for watching. The Voice of E, entertainment for the Everyday Geek. I'm your host, Elliott Miller, and until next time, keep your mind free.
Get me that signal. We need more power.